Hey gardeners, I'm here in my front yard garden and I'm about to harvest my garlic. We grow 220 garlic plants per year, which means we can use our own garlic all year round. We never buy any garlic from the grocery store, ever. If you haven't grown garlic yet in your garden, you should definitely try it. You plant it in the fall and then you harvest it the next summer. It's really easy to grow. It doesn't require a lot of maintenance except for a little bit of mulching and watering when it's dry. And then it hardly has any pests or diseases. And you plant one clove and you get one bulb. So that's a pretty good return. So put it on your list for this fall. So how do you know when to harvest your garlic? You don't want to harvest it when it's entirely green because that means it could keep growing and not reach full size. But you also don't want to harvest it when it's all brown because that means you left it a little bit too long in the garden and it might compromise the storage life of your garlic. So you want to wait and harvest it when a few of the bottom leaves have turned brown. So this is one of my garlic. I have 1, 2, 3 of the bottom leaves are brown and everything else is green. So that's a great time to start harvesting.
If your soil's moist, you might be able to gently pull out all of the garlic bulbs from the ground. But if you have to struggle too much, you run the risk of breaking off the bulb in the ground, which is no good. So use a fork or a shovel. My favorite garden tool is the digging fork. And be careful not to damage the bulbs. Keep the fork a little bit of a distance away from each bulb. Gently loosen the soil and then pull the bulb out of the ground. I grow several different varieties of garlic in my garden and I like to keep them all separate. So I harvest one variety at a time. And the great thing about garlic is that you can use some of it as seed this fall. So for my garlic, I like big bulbs and cloves. So after I harvest one variety, I go through and put aside the biggest bulbs of that variety. So I'm going to save those for seed in the fall.
You can start using your garlic whenever you want, but you may notice if you break it open when it's really fresh, the paper that we're used to seeing in garlic that we buy from the farmer's market or the grocery store isn't there. There's still too much moisture, so it's going to be difficult to peel. So that's why it's best to cure and dry your garlic for a little bit so that you prep it for long-term use and for winter storage.
You want to make sure you have good air circulation around the bulbs as they're drying, so I like to tie mine into bundles of 10. So I take a piece of jute twine, tie it around the bundle, and then leave one end long for hanging. Over the years I've had a lot of mix-ups with my varieties, so now I just label every single bundle with this pink flagging and a Sharpie. And then I make sure I write seed on the ones that I want to save for seed and replanting in the fall. Then I take the garlic to my garage. So you'll want to dry your garlic somewhere out of the direct sunlight and rain. Your garage is a great choice. I like to hang the bundles from the rafters, and I usually put all my seed garlic together on one side of the garage to keep it separate so I don't mix it up with the rest of it.
Most years I harvest my garlic sometime during the last 2 weeks of July and then I hang it in the garage until sometime in September. If I need a bulb after I've hung it to dry, I just run out to the garage, cut one down, and bring it back to the kitchen. You'll know that it's ready to take down when it's much more papery and easy to peel. If you haven't grown garlic yet in your garden, I hope you're inspired to do so. If you have grown it this year, then I hope you picked up a few tips on how to dry it and cure it for storage.